Spotlight program. Today I'm joined by David Szymanski, Chief Deputy Treasurer of Wayne County Treasurer's Office. Thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. So we're here to talk about some of the new tax programs that Wayne County Treasurer's Office has going on right now. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure, we're very excited about this. Treasurer Wojtowicz has been working very hard to try and put together programs to help people stay in their homes. You know, you'll hear him say all the time, I don't want to take anybody's property, but I need to collect taxes. And that's what our office is all about. We need to collect delinquent taxes because it is taxes that fund essential government services. That's police and fire protection, schools for our children, all of those services that the government provides. And if we don't get those taxes, we can't provide the services. Therefore, it's necessary that we collect those. Consistent with that, though, the treasurer really wants to keep people in their homes. And therefore, he tasked us with trying to come up with solutions that will help them do that. We know that these delinquent taxes sometimes can be a real burden on people. And one of the problems is a lot of people know how to budget on a monthly basis, but these tax bills come twice a year. They're big, they're difficult to deal with. So we set up payment programs that are based on monthly payments. Now what we did is we worked with Mayor Mike Duggan out of Detroit, went to speak to the Senate and the House of Representatives, got legislation passed, the governor signed them into law. And this allows us to reduce a person's interest rate. Right now we're charging 18% interest, and that's a huge interest rate. But with this law, we can reduce that to 6% if they will pay off their taxes. And the way this happens is that a person, and now it's only on owner-occupied properties, so you must own and live in the home as your primary residence. But if that's the case, you pay 10% of the delinquent taxes as a down payment, which becomes manageable, and then pay 3% each month. And that's very manageable. Now, consistent with that, you have to make sure that no other taxes come over delinquent. So once you get on this plan and your next year's taxes come over from your local community, you have to pay those on time. And this is a program that is not limited to Detroit, not limited to Wayne County, it's statewide, and it's a wonderful program.
Great, it sounds like one. I know that Wayne County always helps residents to pay their taxes, and the one thing that you do always hear the treasurer saying in his commercials and in his PR is that he wants you to stay in your home. He wants you just to pay the taxes, and that'll help you do that. So I think that's a good message for him to send, because we still get those properties occupied, but they're also being paid, and we could run those programs like you said. So can you tell me a little bit about how Wayne County residents can avoid foreclosure through those payment systems? How are those set up?
Absolutely. The best thing for somebody to do is to actually come down to our offices. We're getting sort of late in the program here. March 31st is when the foreclosure takes place. We are therefore hoping that they will come down to our offices at 400 Monroe on the 5th floor and meet with our staff. Our staff will pull up their records, take a look at what year's taxes they owe, how much they owe, and figure out what the payment plan is for them. We have several plans. We have what's called the distressed owner-occupant extension, and that's for somebody who only owes 2012 taxes. And if they bring in a copy of their deed or land contract, a utility bill from their home that shows that they pay the utilities on that house and it's delivered to that house, that shows that they live there. They bring a copy of their ID and they fill out an affidavit. If they only owe 2012 and later taxes, we will then just give them an extra year to pay the 2012. They will have to make a 10% down payment, but they have the rest of the year to pay their 2012s. So that's a distressed owner-occupant extension. We also have then, the exciting program is that interest reduction stipulated payment agreement. We call it an IRSPA, an ERSPA. And the people come down, and once again, they'll meet with our staff. Our staff will tell them whether or not they're eligible. They have to have a principal residence exemption on their home. If they don't have that, we'll give them time to get that. But they really want to have that because if you own and live in your home and you get a PRE, you pay less taxes on your home. The idea is government thought that it is appropriate for somebody to pay less on their primary residence than if they own 5 other homes. They said they can pay a little bit more for those. So they get the PRE, they pay 10% down, 3% per month, and they avoid foreclosure. As long as they're making those payments, it'll take about 4 years to pay off their delinquent taxes, but that's what we want to spread it out over a long period of time so that they can budget it appropriately. We also have another program that we're very excited about is the Step Forward program. This is a program where we have federal funds that we can help people to access to pay their delinquent taxes.
Okay.
This program we found out about a couple of years ago, and they weren't allowed to use it for their taxes back then. But Treasurer Wojtowicz said, well, go to Lansing, go to Washington, D.C., get this approved. And in 4 months, we were able to go to MSHDA and to HUD, the federal government, and apply for and get an exemption to allow people to use this to pay their taxes. Now what this does is it creates the ability for people to borrow, and yes, it's a loan, but it's an interest-free loan. There's no interest. If they continue to live in their home for 5 years, they don't even have to pay it back. So it's a fabulous program. We've so far accessed $50 million to help 5,000 families in Wayne County pay all of their taxes. And we just got another $30 million moved into the program. So if people want to apply to that program, they go to a website called stepforwardmichigan.org.
Okay.
They make an application online, and if they're approved, now to qualify for the program, they must own and live in their home. They must have suffered an involuntary financial hardship, something they were not in control of that reduced their income.
Okay.
Typically, it's loss of a job, cut in pay, might have been a serious illness in the family.
Disability.
Yep. But then if they have sufficient income going forward that they can pay their taxes, the federal government will help them with their back taxes. So that's Step Forward program.
Okay.
And then for people who have properties that they don't own and live in, we have what's called a stipulated payment agreement, and we'll have them pay 20% each month. So it just extends the time and helps them to budget to pay off those taxes.
Okay, now you did mention 2012. Is that the furthest back that we can help Wayne County residents and business owners with their taxes?
No, we actually will help people back further than that.
Okay.
2012 is for that distressed owner occupant extension,
Yes.
but for the interest reduction stipulated payment agreement, we'll go back to 2010.
Okay.
We also have, Mayor Duggan and I talked about this program, which we now call the SEV SPA,
Okay.
where we said a lot of people owe way too much in taxes.
Yes.
And the mayor said, well, can't we cap their taxes at 1/2 their SEV? Now, 1/2 their SEV is 1/4 the value of their property.
Okay.
So you might have somebody whose property was worth $80,000 4 years ago. So they got heavy taxes on that. And now it's worth $10,000. And if it's worth $10,000, we would cap their taxes at $2,500.
Wow.
So that's another program. Once again, our staff will direct people into the appropriate program, and people can either come down to our offices at 400 Monroe on the 5th floor, or they can send us an email to taxinfo@waynecounty.com. As I say, time is sort of running short. March 30th and March 31st, we'll be crazy busy down at the offices. So I really encourage the listeners to come in early
Okay.
and get those problems taken care of.
Okay. And how quickly can someone help them with all of their back taxes? How quickly can they set up a payment plan and get payments and get everything set up and get going?
The day they come down to our offices, they can get it set up right then if they
Okay.
have the money to pay.
Okay.
Now, we take cash payments at our offices at the cashier's window. We'll take certified funds. They can use a credit card, debit card. They can do an automatic deduct from their bank account. Once they get on the payment plan, the best thing for them is to avoid us. We love to see people socially, but if we cannot see them professionally, it's better, because there are times people will be waiting 2 hours to see a cashier just because we get so many people down there. That'll be March 30th and March 31st. That's why I'm asking your viewers, come in early and take care of this problem now.
Okay, perfect. You heard him, so let's take care of it now. So I want to also ask you about this new law that was mentioned in some of the promotions. I know that they said that the new laws will not allow tenants or owners to purchase back their property. But can you tell us what the reasoning behind that is, and can you kind of give us some of the pros of the new law?
Well, we were not necessarily in favor of that law, but we worked with the legislature to try and adjust it to make it more friendly to those people we serve.
Okay.
The problem is we see people who've lived in a home a long period of time, owe significant taxes, and so much so that our attitude was, why not let them participate in the auction and buy it back at auction? It stabilizes the neighborhood, keeps them in their home, and one of the great things about Detroit has always been the high incidence of people who own and live in their own homes. The legislature, though, felt that it wasn't appropriate to let somebody run up a significant bill and then cut that bill and buy it back, especially when you've got landlords who are collecting rent on property and not paying the taxes. It didn't make sense to let them buy back that property, and we understood that attitude. So the legislature decided to make it across the board that if somebody owes delinquent taxes, they can't participate in the auction. And this is where the viewers need to understand that in the past they might have said, well, I'm going to take my chances, go to the auction, and maybe I can buy it back for less. But the way the law is written, we would have to enforce having that person, the former owner, pay all of the delinquent taxes. So it's not to their benefit any longer to say, I'm going to let this go and see how I do at the auction.
Yeah.
Because they will not be allowed to participate.
Okay, gotcha. So what are the perks of the new law? What's the good stuff about it?
Well, it will prevent those landlords who basically buy property, bleed it of all its worth, and cast it to the side. It should help to prevent them from participating further in the auction. It's also going to therefore make people understand the importance of coming to see us now, because these programs that we got right now sunset in June of 2016. So when people realize I can't get to the auction, I better go and get in and see the treasurer, that's a good thing to do, because really Treasurer Wojtowicz is, as I say, all about trying to keep people in their homes.
Yes.
And the earlier they come see us, the more options we have available to them, and the more successful we are at helping them avoid foreclosure.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much for all of the information. Can you just give our viewers the final message and just give them information and the address one more time so that they can come in and pay their taxes and get their payments set up?
Sure. We're really down to the final crunch here. We want you to come in and see us. You can come to 400 Monroe on the 5th floor. You can send us an email to taxinfo@waynecounty.com. The message here really is help us help you, because if you won't come into our offices, we can't do much for you. So help us help you. The time is now.
Great. Thank you so much, Dave. That was great information. Thank you so much.
I hope so.
Thank you to our viewers. Please make sure to check out the website and the information that Dave has mentioned and that we will be listing. I will see you again on another episode of our Spotlight program. Good night.